everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be taking a look at this record here. It was a review that was requested by a great person here in the VC, Rob Walker, who asked me to look at this album by a group called The Bible. It's an album called Walking the Ghost Back Home. So The Bible, a band which Rob introduced me to, he done I think it was a whole video on them, and I thought that I would check them out, quite like the sound of them, and a few weeks later I found this at a record fair for the priceless sum of £3. So yeah, just thought that I would give the album a try, and Rob did request my thoughts and opinions on it. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing in this video today. But first, a bit of quick background information about The Bible. They were formed in 1985 in Cambridge by singer-songwriter Boo Hewardine, I think that's how you say his name, who had previously fronted the band called The Great Divide, and another guy called Tony Shepherd, who plays most of the instruments, keyboards, as well as drums, on a couple of tracks. They used their combined savings to record this album, in various budget studios, with the assistance, of various session musicians and friends they knew from previous bands. So basically, the group was only two musicians, and the rest, at this point in time, was just session musicians. So the album was released on the indie label Back Records, and it received good critical reviews and stayed in the top 10 of the indie charts for 10 weeks. Following this album success on an independent label, The Bible signed to Chrysalis for their second album. However, that was quite a flop, that record. They weren't able to gain any commercial success. So anyway, I will try to show you my vinyl copy to this one here. Quite basic design to it. There's the back of it there, just with a picture of the two guys on it. Quite basic cover, and there's no fancy inner with this one. It's just on this Back Records here. So yeah, that's nice and quick, the vinyl looked at. So anyway, I will now go over each of the album songs. There's only 8 tracks, so this will probably be quite a quick review. So yeah, we'll just score each track out of 10, and then use those scores to give us a overall percentage marking for the album. So it kicks off with a song called Graceland, and no, it's not a cover of the Paul Simon song. Actually, this song did come first, because this was released in early 1986. But anyway, it is a good song. This is a very much a acoustic driven track, nice and breezy, your typical 80s indie jangly sound to it. And this was the band's first single, and this is kind of the song which it would kind of always try and have commercial success with. It was re-released numerous times throughout their career, and I think it reached about number 60 on the national charts when it was reissued sometime in 1987. But yeah, a good song there, kicks off the album really well, I think. Now the next track up is called Mahalia, which this was the first song I heard from them, and I rather like it. I mean, it's got, again, it's very very breezy sound to it. Nice saxophone on it as well. It's the guy who plays the saxophone, I'm just reading on the back, called Kevin Flanagan. He kind of dominates a lot of this record. It's got a really just a nice just a nice smooth sound to it. Reminds me a lot of Haircut 100, kind of in a good way. They've got a lot of good songs as well. Again, just a very summery kind of sound to it. Another independent success for the band. It reached number 15 on the UK indie singles charts. So yeah, another really solid track there. Walking the ghost back home. Next up is the title track called Walking the Ghost Back Home, which is again got a very smooth jazzy feeling to it. Kind of a lot of bands in the mid 80s were showing this very soft rock, Steely Dan style influence. It was semi-popular at the time, groups like China Crisis had a very similar style. And for me, again, it's a nice song. Boo sings this song really well. It just for me goes on a little bit too long, and kind of gets a little bit tedious towards the end, but it's still not a bad track there, so we give it a 7 out of 10. Kid, Galahad and you Okay, and then the first side unfortunately closes for me with the weakest track on the album. It's called King Galahad and the Chrome Chimera, which is it's a sort of more quieter song. This for me, it just sort of struggles to go like anywhere. Lyrically, like there's some like nice lines in it, like there's some nice bits of it. However, just something about the song just doesn't click. It doesn't just sort of like meld together. This track, it sounds a little bit like sort of like forced and like just a little bit boring for me. So we'll give that one a 6 out of 10. The second side though starts really well with a song called Talk to Me Like Jackie Kennedy, which they've got quite strange like song titles like some of these on Z, like I've just noticed. But this is a really great song. Starts off with a great sort of frantic guitar riff. I really like the rawness of it, and I like how that rawness is sort of maintained throughout the song. It basically just sounds like the two guys, like Boo and Tony, basically just playing like themselves like on like this one here. Like it's just got guitar and like drums, like there's no other like embellishments on it, and I rather like it. Again, it's quite a short sort of like punchy song, really like enjoyable performance on it. So we give that one like an 8 out of 10. I mean, it's not the finest song like ever written, but just for like the performance of it, it's a really, really worthy track, I feel. Next up is another good one called King Chicago, which this is very sort of very Smithsy track this year, like very much like in like the lyrical department kind of like sort of like takes like a little like sort of like scrap like out of like Morris's book about sort of like driving your car like off like a cliff and like not like loving like anyone else, that sort of thing. It's kind of, but it's that sort of like lyric sort of filtered through this sort of like sophisticated pop arrangement. Again, for me, it's a little bit drawn out towards the end, but it is like a solid song, I feel. So we'll give that one a 7 out of 10. She's my Bible. Next one up is called She's My Bible, which is a kind of like a love song, with a sort of like religious metaphor to it. Again, it's like your typical fare, like of like jangly like indie guitars, a very pleasant sound, nothing groundbreaking, but just another good track. But then we close with what is possibly my favourite on the album. It's a song called Red Flag, which I think is a great closer. It's a more upbeat track. There's more like a backbeat to it. The guitars sound very interesting like on this song here. They kind of like filtered like through like some like effects pedals, and it just sounds really cool. Again, it's a very catchy song. Great vocal like from Boo, like especially like towards the end, like where like he puts in like a lot of like passion and power like on his vocal. Again, it's possibly my favourite like on the album. I just think it is a really, really good song. Okay, so overall, I would score this album 78%. So personally, I think that their second album is a little bit more consistent. Like there's more sort of like material there. Like this one's like kind of like almost more like sort of like an extended EP kind of thing. I think the second one like is a bit more sort of like consistent throughout, like overall like better songs. But this is still a good record. I mean, it's not going to get like into my top albums like of all time, but certainly like a very good like recommendation like from Rob. Like basically like off a band like who had a lot of potential to go on and do like so much like so like better things, like kind of like build like a real sort of like good like commercial like standing for them. Unfortunately, like for like the Bible, like they weren't able to do that. Some say that it's to do like the name. I mean, like it's not the most sort of like attractive like sort of like band name, like to sort of like try and market like as like a sort of like a new like up and coming indie band like kind of thing. So that maybe like played into it as well. Although I would say like on this record, a lot of it kind of does sound the same like as like what like probably like 101 like other bands like were doing like at like this point in time. Like they didn't really have like a like unique selling point like which made bands like say such as like the Smiths like with like Morrissey's like sort of like iconic voice and like lyrics, and like say like the House Martins like with like Paul Heaton again like his like sort of like very unique voice. Like those are very sort of distinctive bands. Like whereas for me, the Bible kind of don't have like that sort of like distinction to it. To them, it's very pleasant music. It's just a great record to sort of like flick on the turntable like if like you're in the mood for this sort of style of music. but it's not a record which for me sort of has a lot of staying power. So yeah, that has been my review of Walking the Ghost Back Home by the Bible. I would just once again urge everyone to check out Rob's channel. Absolutely fantastic guy. As I said, I will leave a link to his channel in the description. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.